Okay, good morning. Today in the Congreso Internacional de Innovación e Investigación en Lingüística Aplicada, we have the one person invited to present how to teach Purépecha. She is María de los Ángeles Villegas, a student from MA in English Language Teaching at the Universidad de Guadalajara. María de los Ángeles, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. So today she's presenting strategies to teach the language.
Okay, well, thank you for the opportunity. And let me start by sharing my screen with you guys. And then I will explain how we're gonna do this. Okay. Okay, so my presentation, it's going to be in two sections. The first section, I am going to use Spanish to give you a little bit of a background of what the Purépecha language is. And the second section, I'm going to introduce you to a methodology that I consider will work for the teaching of Purépecha. Okay, so let's begin. So we are going to learn today about Purépecha Anapu. Y una breve introducción a esta lengua es la siguiente. El Purépecha o el Tarasco es un grupo originario de la región de Michoacán. Se autodenomina como Purépecha y el adjetivo calificativo Tarasco se le asignó durante el periodo de la conquista por parte de los españoles. Entonces es un idioma muy incierto en sus orígenes, no tiene relación directa comprobable con las 13 familias lingüísticas que tenemos aquí en México. Entonces, su comparación con otras familias, pues ha sido un debate constante para los lingüistas, antropólogos, hablantes, es todavía algo incierto, ¿no? Durante la conquista se identificaron muchos sonidos muy ricos en su fonética. Esto derivó a la escritura temprana de algunos pasajes, más que nada por parte de los frailes y de los obispos que vinieron a tierras purépechas. Entonces, por eso todavía no hay como mucha afiliación. El purépecha es una lengua aglutinante y polisintética. Entonces, en este sentido, es mucho más aglutinante que es polisintética. Hay muy poca polisíntesis, sí existe, pero es muy poca. Se da más la aglutinación en cuanto a las palabras. Eso, nos lleva a la escritura del purépecha. Hoy en día se cuenta con alrededor de 4 alfabetos. Es una lengua que tiene mucha variación dialectal. Por regiones, tenemos 4 regiones dentro de la región purépecha, entonces hay variación dialectal entre región y región, pero también a veces dentro de la misma región. Entonces eso no ha permitido llegar a un consenso para la producción escrita del purépecha. Bueno, a grandes rasgos, esta fue como la introducción de lo que es el purépecha y al final un método para mí personalmente que se puede adaptar para la enseñanza del purépecha tiene que ver con el community approach, grammar translation y un communicative approach. ¿Por qué elegí una combinación de estos métodos? Es importante que cuando estamos estudiando una lengua, no solamente estudiamos la lengua, estudiamos su cultura. Entonces es importante el community approach para ir formando el conocimiento de acuerdo a nuestra cultura. Bien, pues eso es lo que voy a presentar el día de hoy. Y bueno, mi clase iniciaría de la siguiente manera. First, by introducing the main aspects that I'm going to cover within my class. And I will ask students to pay close attention on 3 main aspects. The aspect of phonology, because probably it's a sound or a letter that we're going to see very, very often. And it's going to be the letter X. And the pronunciation of this letter would be, Javi, can you identify that sound?
It's sh.
Exactly, thank you. It's the schwa sound, right? And so the sh sound. Also, we're gonna be introduced to some grammar. And the grammar that we're gonna be introduced is 3 main words. It's the he, the tu, and the cha. So I have selected these three pronouns, and I also have selected what is the use that we're going to give to each of these pronouns, right? Are we going to talk about ourselves? Are we going to talk about the other person? Or are we going to use a respectful, formal way of addressing someone else? And under my vocabulary, I want to pay special attention to these 5 words, which are erantini, anapu, ses, ka, and ho. Okay, so we're going to be working with this vocabulary along this session, and probably we're going to see it like in different variants, because remember that Purepecha is an agglutinative language. Okay, so here is the first slide that I'm going to share with you. I have this dialogue between Juanu ka Angelesi. There is one little comment that I want to make. All of the words in Purepecha end up with a vowel sound and a vowel graph. So that's why Angeles has to end with Angelesi. So my vocabulary, it's between Juan and Angeles. They haven't met. So this is what we're going to be practicing, or we're going to introduce. Okay, can you help me read the first question about Juanu? Let's see how you do it, Javi, please.
Okay, let's see. Nari eranti shiki?
Shki.
Shki.
Yes, remember we saw on the first, on the previous slide that the X is going to be a sh, shki. Okay, yes. So that is nani eran de shki. Ses, kacha.
So I continue?
Yes, please.
Okay. Sesi, nari anapuishki.
Sesi anapuishki. Very good. He yawani anapuishka. Okay. Now here in parentheses, I put Nahuatzen. And Nahuatzen, it's the name of my hometown. But in Purepecha, it would be Yawani. It's the equivalent of the name. Anapuishka. Kacha. Kacha.
Yi para he para parachu. Anapuishka.
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 Very good. Okay. Very good. Nari arikurishki.
He arikurishka Juanu kasha.
He arikurishka Angelesi. Okay, so some of these words, or we read it also by phonemes, as you can listen to Javi. He, ari, kuri, shka. Those are the morphemes that we've used in agglutinative languages to create meaning. Okay, so what is this dialogue all about? Is it do we know like all of information ahead, or is this new information? Professor Diana, what can you tell us? Because Javi participated in helping us with the dialogue. Do you think we are best friends?
I think you're talking with some expressions that are like formal.
Informal.
Cha. And then I could identify like little things that are formal.
From the previous.
You were talking about me, like he, and but I can identify cha.
Okay. Remember when we use just the he, the tu, and the cha. In here, the cha, it was because I was talking with respect to, in this case, Juanu, or in the dialogue with Javi, because I don't know him, so I cannot address him as you directly, like we do in Spanish. in a very informal way. So that's why we use the cha in this case, because it's the first time that I am addressing this person. That's how we do with the pronouns. And then, can you identify the underlined words, the ones that are bold? Can you guys see them? Those pieces of information are specifically personal information. The construction of this dialogue is going to be the same when we are meeting someone, and we will change only these underlined bold words because those are to be replaced with our information. Okay. The
For
second,
example, where
yes.
it says G R Ari Kurisha Juan is like my name is Juanu.
Yes.
And you, but the cha means you would respect.
Yes.
Something like that, right?
Yes, of course, specifically that. Kacha, it's with respect, the question is for you, right? If it was someone informal, someone that it's not maybe older than me, or it doesn't have a higher position in my workplace or something, if it's like a student, a fellow student, I would substitute the cha for the tu. Katu, and then it will be the informal conversation. Informal. Okay. Yes, informal conversation. The second dialogue.
But I was playing with the first one, trying to get the meaning. It's saying hello, where are you from? It's like from Nahuatzin, and you from Paracho.
Yes.
And we were saying, what's your name? Juan. And what's your name? Angeles. Is that okay?
Yes, that's perfect. That's the perfect meaning. God, you're very smart. You're ahead of us. Yes, that's exactly the dialogue between these two people, okay? Between Juan and Angeles. The following activity that in a classroom I would introduce is to explain perhaps in the Spanish, which is the tongue that we all share, the meaning exactly of some words that are probably different or difficult for the students to identify. For example, the word he says, Hiparachu anapuishka, and the following line, Nari arikurishki. Explain how the question form works, explain what are the morphemes for questions, answers, and first person singular, second person singular, and then we would continue. The activity that I would have my students to do after that is a scaffolding activity, where in that activity I would leave the same dialogue, but without the pieces of information. And little by little, I would eliminate more and more words so that they can remember and they can practice a little bit more. So my scaffolding will be like more and more implemented in each one. So do you guys want to practice the dialogue now with your personal information?
Sure.
Okay. So yes, I have assigned specific dialogues for each one of you. Jorempiri, teacher, professor, Diana, and Javieri.
Okay. So over here,
I have to start.
Yes, please, Professor Diana, you will start the dialogue.
Nari eran tishki.
Tishki,
Ceci Kasha.
Ceci. Nari anapuishki.
Now I don't know what goes here. He
Yawani Katu. He Nahuatzin Katu.
Okay. Jalisco. Okay, he Jalisco Anapuishka Kasha.
He erongaricuaro anapuisca.
Nari Arikur Ishki.
He arikuinsiska Diana. Katu?
He Arikur Ishka Javieri.
There we go. Thank you. Let's stop the dialogue right here. Very good. Great job. Now, also one little detail that I would like to mention is that in Purépecha, usually we eliminate the last vowel sound. Most of the times it's eliminated. But for us learners at a very intro level, it's perfect. Okay, so this will be like the session that I have planned. I would continue with the small conversations between one another that would include dates, numbers, basic vocabulary, and then do the same activities, scaffolding, and introduce topics from a cultural perspective. Okay, so for me, my references, and Dios me llamo Kwa. Thank you very much for your attention. It was my pleasure.
Thank you very much, Angeles, for your presentation. It was very involving and motivating. And I think it's one pleasure having you guys as students, Luis Javier and Angeles, because you were introducing two languages that might be or appear difficult to learn. And you made it so easy, guys, so easy. So, and I think for the purpose of this Congreso Internacional, we are pleased to have you as presenters today. Thank you very much for your presentations, Javier and Angeles.
Thank you.
Thank you.